Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ. Back to the home editions of the Green Room, which is always a lot of fun. We've got David on, David, the drummer from a band that we had previously in the Artist Spotlight, a band called Silent Season. David, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Ryan? Thanks for having me on 97.7 WQLZ's interview.
Absolutely. And I know we always don't get to talk to the drummer. Very few interviews. It's always just like the drummer. So what's it like being the drummer and getting to have the sole focus of an interview?
Oh, it's great. I can run the show here and talk about all the great things and be the boss and obviously put the band in a good light. But I love it. It's very empowering.
I know it's good. So Halloween was yesterday as well. Did you do anything for Halloween? So you and I are friends now on Facebook, and you've been sharing. The memes have been going around of kind of just take like one thing of the in the Halloween bucket. So did you do anything fun for Halloween yesterday? Did you dress up at all over the last couple of weeks?
You know, um, I'm a working musician. I play music and I also work in the corporate life. So I went to work and I didn't dress up, and I think that was scary enough for people.
Okay.
So I think they enjoyed that. And I have a little one. I took him out trick or treating, and that was really fun. He went out as Five Nights at Freddy's. He was Fazbear,
Okay.
so a lot of people enjoyed that too. So I didn't realize how popular that the game and the show was. So everyone knew the character, and it was just exciting to see. But it was a great Halloween, and I can't believe it's November already, man. This is crazy.
I know it's wild. Like we're finally feeling like fall a little bit here on things, which is interesting. Uh, how old's your kid? Was this his first time out trick or treating, or have you take is kind of his big first trick or treating experience?
He's been out a few times.
Okay.
Yep. So we go local around our area in Boston, and has a lot of friends in the area. So just going around to the neighborhoods, and it's a great time. It's quiet in the area, and he gets to go and do his thing. And there are a couple of neighbors fooling around and scaring the kids too when they approach the door. So that was kind of funny too.
And David, we had your guys' song "In Flames." It's the latest track from you guys. Artist Spotlight, which you and I kind of talked. But you guys, when I was up in Wisconsin, up in Wausau, you guys did some radio stuff in the past with Stars. I think there was one when I was out of radio called "Wounds," which I went back and checked my old Gmail. I was like, oh, there's another track in here as well. But "In Flames," the newest track from you guys, been out a couple of months. We played it. What do you want our listeners to know about this track? Obviously, we're kind of going in reverse here, playing the song and then talking to you afterward. But schedules, are wild. So, what would
Yeah.
you like our listeners to know about this track?
Well, I'm going to speak on behalf of my vocalist for this. The thought around In Flames, the meaning. It's really he wrote it in the theme with when someone's life is spiraling out of control, and everything's around them is sort of for like no pun intended in flames.
Yep.
You got to find the willingness and the motivation within to pull yourself out of that, so you can't get consumed by those negative events that happen around you. And and being able to pull yourself out, being able to put yourself in a positive light, and get back to where you want to be as a person. That's what we're trying to convey, and a lot of our songs have deep meanings. We try to portray a positive light in what we talk about in our lyrics and how our music is created. And there's hope. You gotta find the ways internally, and don't be afraid to ask for help from other people as well. And life can always be better. It can always get better. And just do your thing, and you'll be on a good track to move forward.
I feel like it's a message that I think a lot of bands put out there, but it's also nice talking about too, because you look at, I mean, everything is so divisive with people. People get in arguments about anything and everything. So it's good to have these songs. There's September is National Suicide Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So there's stuff out there. So when some of these tracks come out, like I think this track came out for you guys in October, kind of around that time of Suicide
Yeah.
Prevention Month. So it's good to kind of have it out there, musically for you, since you are the drummer. We're getting a chance to talk. Like I mentioned earlier, getting a chance to talk with the drummer behind this as well. Like musically, like it's good to hear. Obviously, what inspired the song, whatever, like I said, whatever you guys want to share about it. So, like musically for you guys, kind of what was this track like for you guys on your end putting it together?
Yeah, musically, I mean, just I'll speak for the drums. No, not biased here.
Yeah.
When we were crafting this song, we had some ideas and riffs, and we were going back and forth, and we just had this like really catchy lick going on. And but we also said we want to introduce some heavy elements to it, like much like most of our music. We try to bring the listener on a journey. We don't want to go so far a certain way. We like to balance a bunch of different styles into what we do. So in particular with In Flames, we wanted to start off with the highs and the lows, but also create that edge. The bridge is a little heavy, as you can hear, right? And there's some cool samples and sound effects that are going on throughout the song. So like we're the goal is to appeal to many listeners, right? And not to sound corporate here, but we wanted to be able to add many different edges to what we were doing In Flames, but also have that huge chorus that folks could sing along to and say, oh, I know that tune from Silent Season, In Flames, but it has such a deep meaning at the same time. Everything, all the goods are packaged in one.
And what I like too about it is if you're a fan of the band In Flames, it kind of sticks in your head too. Like that's like obviously it's your guys' song and everything else, but when I saw it, I was like, this also reminds me of the metal band In Flames. So it kind of, and so if you're a metal fan, I think it kind of sticks in your head a little bit more too because you have the band correlation to it. I highly doubt you guys were like, hey, let's just put a song together called In Flames because of the band, because obviously you've got stuff you want about it. But has anybody else said that to you guys? Like, oh, like it's it kind of sticks in your head because of also there's a band In Flames.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, Ryan, because I don't know if you've interviewed Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves.
I have not. Nope.
Or not. So we were on his podcast, and before he introduced our song on the podcast, he had mentioned something to the effect that In Flames from Silent Season, not the band In Flames.
Okay.
So everyone's definitely picked up on that little nugget, as you mentioned. But I on the other side, I agree. I think those sort of marketing things help people remember things. It's not just the music, it's everything. It's the brand, it's everything that goes into bringing those creative elements together, where whether it's the music and anything else a band member wants to do to get their name out there. So yeah, I mean, that association, it really is just written for Silent Season, but I think maybe that could help people remember some other aspects of what In Flames is truly.
Yeah, and you and I talked a little bit too. So for the most part, Silent Season, you're an independent band. You have some help with when it comes to kind of the distribution of your music.
Yep.
So is it kind of like, dude, as an independent band, like we'll take any connection and kind of like what's it like for you all behind the scenes? Because I told you this as well. I don't think it can be harped on enough times the amount of things that independent bands have to do, how many skills you have to have. So
Yeah.
one, is it like, hey man, we'll take any extra little thing we can get as an independent band, and kind of like what is some of your behind the scenes stuff kind of look like when it comes to being independent?
Yeah, great question. So I could talk about this for days. I'll try to trim it down my best of my ability. So
Yeah.
being an independent band, it's rewarding because all the work that you put into it, and you see the results at the end of the day. It's definitely gratifying. It is very challenging. Just the philosophy of Silent Season, I'll share. This band has always been on a mission to take it to that next level, and I'm sure you hear that all the time from a lot of bands,
Yeah.
but we've been around since 2008. So we're approaching up to over 16 years here. And it's always been a goal to get some sort of support, whether it's the distribution, a record label, or deal of some sort that made sense for us. Because we know there's a lot of bands out there that want to take the indie route, which, again, totally respect, understand. Every band's different. But if anything, as being an indie band, it takes a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of talent involved. Like everyone sort of has to have their discipline because you're running a business. It's not just creating the music, which is the fun part, but
Mhm.
you're getting to a point where you're running a business. You got to run the online presence with generating sales from your website with merch or
Yeah.
patrons, or coordinating with the distribution team to make sure royalties are coming in, and then setting up shows if you don't have a booking agent. And there's so many facets to it. And now before we were got on live here, we were talking about the other elements of it, like the streaming on the dude from Trivium, the singer from Trivium, Matt Heafy, he does the whole streaming as his own business too. And there's so many other components you can do outside of just making music. So you got to be out there. Like you have to have a presence on. I know a lot of bands are going to disagree, but TikTok and
Yeah.
some of these platforms, you got to become your own brand and your own avatar, if you will, to really get the word out there about what you're doing. Because just releasing music, it's important, and having great music is important, but you got to be able to take that a step further and run that through the channel of your own business, being an independent artist without, major backing or major booking, major distribution, things like that. So it's really rising above the rest. And you may read a lot of negativity out there about what's going on in music, but let me tell you, man, with digital and everything that's gone on, everyone has easy access to running their own business and recording themselves, and it's become more competitive than ever to really get out there too. So that's why you got to always be attentive and focused on generating that interest in getting the fan base generated. And so it's a lot of work, but when the results come in, it's paid off. And it's not just about the music anymore, it's also business.
And like you mentioned, there's a lot of bands I talk to that do put in the work of a lot of things you're talking about. Like you guys on social media, and you guys, I would say, are in the upper echelon of how you run your social media. Of hey,
Thank you.
QLZ played our song a week and a half ago. We want to just send them a thank you again. Not
Yeah.
many bands do that. A lot of bands do share, whether it's on one platform, two, whatever it happens to be. But like you guys take it a step further and say, hey, like QLZ played our stuff like a week and a half ago. Thank you again. Hey, this station played our stuff a week and a half ago. Thank you again. And it's not just on one. It's not. We're getting tagged on Instagram. We're getting tagged on Twitter. We're getting tagged on Facebook. For everything from you guys. So I think that's another thing too. That if you're a independent band, you're an upcoming band. If you want to continue, and you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, this band didn't do this. I'm not going to play your stuff again. But
Yeah.
To me, it's all those things too. Like, I mean, I told you I do 1,000 things here at the station, 1,000 things at QLZ. I do football and I do a bunch of other stuff. Like these little reminders are like, okay, that's right. This band is taking a step further. Like this stuff all sticks in your head. Like we had a band come in studio a couple weeks ago. Lead singer had food poisoning.
Oh
They're
no.
like, no, we're still stopping by. Like we're not going to skip by you. We're still stopping by.
Nice.
Like I told him, I said, dude, like the fact that like we can't do acoustic, he's not feeling great. I said, dude, the fact you guys still did this is incredible.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
so like with you, I just want to give you a shout out on this as well, just being like, hey, like there are bands that go above and beyond. It's just all about putting the work in.
Appreciate that, Ryan. I love the feedback. You're helping out bands. You give the featured spotlight to bands, which is great. That's excellent to see. And I feel like speaking for active rock bands, or rock bands, whatever you want to call the genre, being able to give back to the stations that support you and get them out on mentions in social media and press, and we're helping each other out. It's a community.
Yeah.
Right. So it's everyone's helping each other out there to stay above all the, noise that's out there with everything going on. And that's how I see it, man. You guys, you're helping us get out there. Where, let's throw some mentions up on social media. Let's get the word out there. And, and I feel like that builds on the relationships too, because we'd love to get out to your area out in the Midwest and play a radio show and get to the station, as you just mentioned. And that's all important stuff to us. It's all about the building. It takes building and developing, and you never stop. As they say, you never stop learning. You never stop building in this business. So it's always 24/7. You keep going and you help each other out. That's what it comes down to.
It is. Like I said, rock and metal have always been known for community. So that's one of the biggest things too. And it's great seeing a lot of, like I said, man, a lot of bands hustle out there. I think a lot more bands hustle than what people kind of realize. And just a lot of them happen to be independent and they're trying to make their way up. It's cool. It's good. Those positive things, it's great. You and I were talking too a little bit. You've got some more new music. You're working on a new tune right now. So what's kind of we only got, you and I are talking. It's like it's November already. It's November 1st. So what does the last kind of couple of months look for you guys, and maybe what's the plan for music kind of end of this year and going into 2025?
Yeah, so we are, as we were talking about, we are in the middle of getting a song together. We're heading into the mixing production phase of some final pieces. So we're working through that. The goal is to release it through our distributor at Earth Program, which is exciting. So we don't have an exact date yet, but we're trying to definitely get it out of the door before the end of this year, because we had a few tunes. We had Hopeless earlier in the year, In Flames, and then this third one. And for the next couple months, the goal is to release that track. We've been releasing singles and then play some more shows. We've been active in the Northeast area, try to get out a little further to continue to build the fan base again. We're sort of in that reactivation period. If you fall, this is for anyone listening, we've been around for a while, we've toured, we've done the big tours in the day, and it's a little harder to do it these days with everything
Yeah.
that's gone on with unfortunately post COVID. But we're finding other ways to get out there. So the goal is to keep our presence online strong, to do a lot of interviews, to try to do maybe a little tour to the radio stations and get out to QLZ and get the fans what they want to hear. And going into the next year, it's really all about even dropping more music. Maybe taking a little bit more of approach with more songs coming out instead of just singles, and then dropping some videos and more shows, maybe even bigger shows. So never stop the grind. Going back to that last question, this is all part of the business, and silent season is going to be active the remaining of this year all the way into next year, and you'll be hearing a lot from us. So keep your eyes open and your ears peeled.
Awesome. And I know you mentioned you want to put together, more songs, maybe, possibly an EP, possibly an album, kind of what you're talking about. And every time somebody comes on for the first time, David, because I don't think I had you guys do this. There used to be a blog post when I was up in Wisconsin. Your favorite complete albums of all time. There used to be something called Favorite Fives, and your favorite no skip records. And it used to be a blog post when I was up there. I started doing this over a year ago, asking bands this. I was like, I don't know if I want to ask this on the spot to bands.
You
And
can do it.
I tried it a couple times, and it's gone really well since. So you're like probably the 100th person to get this question, and it's gone well. It's gone really, really well. And so some bands you just see the wheels turning right away. It's really cool. And some bands just take over the interview, and like if you got multiple people on, they'll take over the interview and just go back and forth about their favorite complete album. So if you want to give me 1, 5, 10, whatever you want to give me, man, your favorite no skip records of all time.
So mine's more generational and based on, early. I know a lot of bands like to reach back in the past, which I respect too. I'm going to go with Invitation to the Dance from 40 Below Summer. That's a no skip record for me. Those guys really got me interested into the whole, active rock metal scene. Obviously the Slipknots, the Mudvaynes, all that, LD50. All that existed, but there was something about 40 Below Summer that was unique and new to me. Hearing them on terrestrial radio, seeing them out on the road with all other bands, it was something that really got me excited. And that whole record, with Falling Down and Rope, and it's crazy because they do kind of like the way they're set up with those songs. It definitely influenced us as a band, as one of the influences of how they approach melodic music, but with the edge and the heaviness to it. So, and then they had that little bit of the rap element going on at the same time. So, we sort of pull from that as an influence. And the cool news about 40 Below Summer is we've been able to actually play shows with them and become very good friends with them over the years. So with Max and Joey and all them, and they had their side projects that we've played with over the years too. So, I would say for me as, the drummer of Silent Season, that was a huge influence. That's, that record was huge for us. And, definitely super creative. And, that band, in my opinion, should have been a lot bigger than they were. So that's a no skip for me.
All right. There's always a few of those bands out there. You're like, man, this band should be bigger than what they are. There's always some of those out there. David, again, man, like I said, we played In Flames on QLZ. We've got more new music from you guys. When you guys get stuff ready, we'll have it back on QLZ Artist Spotlight. We'll pump you guys up. Where can people want to obviously follow you? You got more stuff coming up. They want to follow you on the socials. They want to buy merch. Website. Where can everybody come out and support you guys until more new tunes come out?
Yeah, great. No, I appreciate this. You can find us on our website, www.silentseasonmusic.com. We have a merch store. We're actually updating the site, but it's still available. You can go check it out. We're all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I recently got us involved with TikTok a couple of years ago. So we're not dancing on TikTok, but we are putting live performances up. But we're all over. You can put it in search. You'll find us. We have a lot of organic results. So, yeah, no, Ryan, this has been excellent. We greatly appreciate you having us on, and myself having me on, and we'd love to keep in touch. And again, we want to get out your way and do an in-person radio interview and play some shows and connect. And we're forever grateful for all the promotion that you've been giving this band over the years. And we want to keep doing this, and let's rock it.
So awesome, Dave. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you. Rock on. Have a good one.